Thank you. Thank you very much. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Fulbright Foreign Student Program virtual information session. It is a pleasure to be here with you. My name is Jessica Conchu. I am the Cultural Affairs Assistant at the U.S. Embassy. I am joined here by a wonderful team, including Ms. Charlene Jani, who is likewise Cultural Affairs Assistant at the U.S. Embassy, and Mr. Matthias Chincher, who is the Cultural Affairs Specialist at the U.S. Embassy. Hello, Matthias. Hello, Charlene. In just a few moments, we will be having welcome remarks from our Deputy Public Affairs Officer, Mrs. Karen Tang. And without much further ado, I will pass on the mic to her. Karen?
Hi, Jessica. Thank you very much for the introduction. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. It's wonderful to see so many of you motivated candidates to join us this afternoon and learn about the Fulbright Foreign Student Program. It's a really important element of the U.S.-Cameroon bilateral relationship, and also U.S. flagship exchange program with basically all the other countries around the world. The Fulbright Foreign Student Program, it operates in more than 160 countries worldwide. So we are really proud, the U.S. Embassy is very proud to have sent hundreds of talented Cameroonian students to the United States under this program since 1960. So with enough determination and preparation, you too will be able to join all of our alumni who have participated in this very prestigious exchange program. Program
I think we're having a few connectivity issues. Are the audio difficulties just on my end, or is this a general? Problem? Are we able to hear?
Hi, Jessica. I think it's a connectivity issue.
Okay. So unfortunately, Karen, we're not able to hear you. And Ms. Tang had a really lovely introduction for us, but we may just give the internet a few more minutes to sort of restabilize. And while waiting, I will ask Charlene, if you would not mind, to please share with us a few words about the YALI network, just because we have many people who are interested in the Fulbright Foreign Student Program but we know that not all will be chosen, but all have opportunities through the US Embassy. Charlene?
Thank you, Jessica. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're able to hear me. So thank you for the introduction. Before I start, I would like to please ask you a question. Can you virtually maybe raise your hand if you have ever heard of the YALI before? What is YALI? Y-A-L-I. If you've ever heard about YALI, please raise your hand virtually. Okay, great. I have 10, 12. Okay, thank you. I'm also assured that you're able to hear me, so which is great. Thank you very much. But I can see that there are still a couple of people who've never heard of YALI before. And trust me, if you are less than 40 years old, I'm sure that you have to, you need to, you must at least know about the YALI program. And what I would like to say today is what YALI, first of all, stands for. YALI stands for Young African Leaders Initiative. And it's a United States government effort to invest in the next generation of African leaders with the belief that if young people are empowered with leadership skills, and if they are provided enough networking opportunity, they'll be able to take on the challenges of their time and of the African continent. So that's why YALI was created. And actually, how do we do that? How do we make sure to empower the young African, the youth in Africa in general, Cameroon included? So we do that through three basic components. The first component of the YALI program is the Mandela Washington Fellowship, which is a 6 weeks exchange program in the US for young people who have demonstrated leadership skills or experience in different tracks. That is the business entrepreneurship, civic engagement, that is for NGOs or civil society organizations, and of course the public management field. Those are for civil servant or government officials. So the YALI, the MWF, as we call it, takes you to the US for academic coursework, leadership training, and of course, networking opportunity in US colleges and universities. The second component of the YALI is what we call the regional leadership centers. Yeah, actually, it's the same program, same format, same system as the Mandela Washington Fellowship, but with the difference that the program takes place in an African country. And for Cameroonian, you can participate in the RRC in Accra, Ghana for English speakers, or Dakar, Senegal for French speakers. The last, but for me, maybe the most important component of the YALI program is what we call the YALI network. The YALI network actually is a platform where you have access to free resources. It can be videos, chat, meetups, meetings, policy informations, toolkits. I really love the toolkits. So for example, if you're looking for a job and you don't know how to go about writing your CV or preparing for interview or developing your public speaking skills, you have toolkits in the YALI network that can really help you do that. So these are some resources that sometimes we don't get to learn in school or in a normal setting, but the YALI network offers you that. So the first thing you want to do after, of course, flying the Fulbright to the Fulbright program is please go to yali.state.gov. That is YALI fulbright.states without the S .gov. We'll write it in the chat box, and I think that's pretty it for the yearly program presentation. We want to wish you good luck for Fulbright application. Over to you, Jessica. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlène. J'espère que tout le monde a bien suivi les
Over to you,
propos de
Jessica.
Charlène en ce qui concerne le YALI Network. Vous pourrez être très, très utile. Donc, nous vous encourageons à vous inscrire à des cours dans le YALI Network. I will just be giving a quick overview of today's session. We will begin with a presentation on the program, but before we do that, let me double check if Karen is still here, and we'll give it one more try. Karen, if we're able to hear you and the network is doing a little better.
Hi, Jessica, can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry, everyone, my network cut off. So just back to the point I was mentioning, as you prepare for your application, we encourage you to think critically about the role that you can play in resolving local and global issues. And ultimately, participants are chosen for their leadership potential and their academic merit. So these two are important elements in being a strong candidate, your leadership potential and your academic merit. This is a very competitive program. Like I said, it is a flagship program, Fulbright, for the U.S. Department of State. But all of the participants who have gone to the U.S. before on this exchange can all attest that this is really well worth the effort. Beyond the obvious benefit of earning a master's degree or a PhD degree from an American university, Fulbrighters have all described their experiences on this program as life-changing and having a profound influence on their personal and professional development. I myself am a Fulbrighter as well. I was actually a US Fulbright Fellow and spent a year in Japan. And for me, honestly, it was a life-changing experience. It contributed to who I am today, and it shaped the work that I am doing now, which is to help promote exchanges. So once again, thank you all for tuning in at the session this afternoon, and I wish you all the best as you submit your applications. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Karen. Karen, that's Charlène and Karen together. Thank you, Karen, for this warm introduction. And we are going to get started with the presentation. I saw someone in the chat asking, what is le but de cette présentation? Well, the purpose of the program, of this presentation, is to give you a little bit more information about the program. And we will also have a panel of 3 recent Fulbright alumni who will share with you some best tips and practices so that you can have a successful application. So you'll want to stay through the presentation. Okay. Today's agenda begins with an overview of the program, a quick rundown of eligibility requirements, some program regulations, the application process and the selection process, and we will end with the alumni panel where you will be able to ask the alumni questions that you may have about the program. The Fulbright Foreign Student Program has different options in terms of programs that you can sign up for. You can go for a degree program where you would be able to earn a master's or a PhD, and you are allotted 1 to 2 years of study in the US. We do want you to keep in mind that master's degrees are prioritized over PhDs. Okay, donc vous pouvez postuler pour l'un ou l'autre, mais en fait, on prime plutôt les masters. Vous avez également l'option de faire un programme de recherche, okay, un programme de recherche qui est non diplômé. Et là, ça s'appelle le Visiting Student Research Program. Et dans ce programme, vous participerez à un programme de recherche pendant 9 à 10 mois. Tout est pris en charge dans le programme Fulbright. So tuition, airfare, monthly stipend, health insurance, all of this is paid for, as is the case for all exchange programs offered by the US State Department. One of the things you should know about the Fulbright Foreign Student Program is that we work with a partner institution called the Institute of International Education. And one of their key roles is to match candidates with US university programs. So while you want to do your research ahead of time and know which universities you might be interested in, ultimately, IIE will pair you with the university that best matches your academic profile. The Fulbright places students all over the United States in 50 different states. So someone could end up going to Arizona and another person in New York and another person in Texas. There is a variety. All fields of study are welcome, except medical study involving patient contact. Okay, so all disciplines can apply. The arts are welcome to apply for the Fulbright Foreign Student Program. This program is an exchange that's not just academic, but also cultural. So during your Fulbright experience, there will be cultural activities and opportunity to engage in volunteering and on-campus and off-campus activities as well. And at the close of the program, a nice thing about the Fulbright is they offer re-entry resources so that you can watch some recorded sessions and have networking opportunities, not just with Cameroonian alumni, but with alumni from all over the world that you may have met on your program. Alors, nous allons passer aux critères d'éligibilité. La première des choses, pour postuler pour ce programme, il faut être un citoyen camerounais ou résident ayant un passeport camerounais. Ça ne veut pas dire forcément qu'il faut avoir le passeport aujourd'hui. Vous pouvez déposer une demande pour le passeport plus tard. Mais il faut déjà être citoyen camerounais ou résident. Il faut aussi avoir au moins la licence. La licence est équivalent à 4 années d'université, d'études supérieures. Il y a des programmes qui offrent bon, je ne vais pas dire des licences, mais des diplômes après 3 ans de temps. Ce n'est pas sûr, ça dépend de l'université aux États-Unis, si ce diplôme sera accepté. So you really want to make sure you have 4 years of university study. Okay, some universities will accept 3, some will not. A key part of the Fulbright Foreign Student Program is English language proficiency. All of the courses will be delivered in English at a graduate or PhD level. So you do have to have good English proficiency. However, there is an option for long-term English language study pour ceux qui ont besoin d'un peu plus de temps pour développer leurs compétences en anglais. You also need to have a minimum score on standardized test. So everyone who is accepted into the program will be asked, or is nominated for the program, will be asked to take a standardized test. This can be the GRE, which states that analyzes, evaluates math and writing and reading competencies, or the GMAT is another test that's sometimes taken. And there are special accommodations available for students with disabilities. We want to make sure that people of all abilities are able to partake in the program if they are qualified. Et maintenant, les critères d'inéligibilité. Si vous avez déjà reçu une bourse Fulbright, vous n'êtes pas éligible. Si vous avez déjà reçu une bourse Humphrey, vous n'êtes pas éligible pour ce programme. Si vous vivez ou vous étudiez actuellement aux États-Unis, vous n'êtes pas éligible. Et si vous avez obtenu un master ou une licence d'université aux États-Unis durant les 3 dernières années, vous ne serez pas éligible pour ce programme. Okay. The ineligibility factors go even further. So if you have received or are scheduled to receive any scholarship grant for graduate study outside of Cameroon in the past 5 years or in the immediate future, you are not eligible. So if you're scheduled to receive a scholarship maybe in France or Germany, you would not be eligible for this scholarship. And local employees and direct family members of the US Embassy and USAID are likewise not eligible to apply. A few program regulations for you. One thing you should know is that this program has a 2-year home residency requirement. That means that at the end of the program, you will be required to return to Cameroon and stay in Cameroon for at least 2 years. Okay, that's a very important part of the program because the idea is that you take what you have learned in the United States and that you implement it in Cameroon. And so for that, you need to be physically present. The next thing to know is that employment is discouraged. Going on this program, you are going as a student and you will not be able to obtain formal employment. Now, some foreign students do choose to obtain some on-campus or internship opportunities, but even those, you must submit requests through IIE, our implementing partner. A nice thing about the Fulbright program is that J2 visas are available for dependents. So you can travel with your spouse or children for this program. And that usually happens in the 2nd year of study, if you so choose to travel with your family. And most importantly, as this is an academic scholarship, you want to maintain good academic standing. That means you have a 3.0 GPA out of 4, okay? So 3 out of 4 in terms of your grades. And I think now we're moving to the section where people may have the most questions, the application process. The application process is entirely online this year. People who have applied in the past may have been used to sending in emails, but the application process will be exclusively online at the IIE link listed. This link is also found on the US Embassy program announcement page. Deadline for applications is Monday, May 16th. right before midnight. And we will only consider applications that have been submitted. The way to know if your application has been submitted is that you will receive a confirmation email. As soon as you submit it, you will receive an automatic email. If you do not receive an automatic email, that means your application has not been submitted. And if you have any questions or concerns about the application process, you can reach out to us at exchangesyaounde@state.gov. And I will also include this information in the chat at the end of our session. exchangesyaounde@state.gov. OK. Le processus de candidature est assez long. Il y a beaucoup de documents requis, mais je veux déjà I would like to comfort you, let's say that. I would like to comfort you to know that you do not have to submit everything right now. Okay? Il y a certains dossiers que vous pouvez déposer aujourd'hui et d'autres dossiers que nous allons demander plus tard. Okay? Donc, il n'y a pas de souci. La première des choses, c'est d'avoir le formulaire rempli, le formulaire général. Il faut soumettre votre CV. Il faut soumettre l'essai qu'on appelle the personal statement. Et il y a un deuxième essai qui s'appelle the statement of proposed study. Donc, le deuxième essai va déligner tout ce que vous souhaitez faire en termes d'études. Par contre, le personal statement est plutôt un essai qui porte sur votre personne et votre manière de réfléchir. Documents that can be submitted later are your TOEFL scores. You do not need to worry about TOEFL scores. The TOEFL is a test of English as a foreign language. So that is how we will assess your English language level. Do not worry about that. Candidates who have been shortlisted will be given a voucher to take that test for free. The next thing, your diploma and transcripts. Certain people are currently in school doing their bachelor's and do not yet have their diploma or transcripts. You can submit those later. You can submit those later. But if you have them now, you should submit them now. Si vous avez déjà votre diplôme, si vous avez déjà vos relevés de notes, bien vouloir les soumettre. Parce que, surtout si vous avez des très bonnes notes, ça va jouer dans votre faveur d'avoir ces documents. Okay. Les recommandations, vous pouvez également les soumettre plus tard, comme vous pouvez les soumettre tout de suite. Okay. You will need 3 recommendations, and we ask that at least 1 or 2 come from a university professor, an academic supervisor, or a professional supervisor. Okay. Some people in the past have gotten recommendations from an alumnus or an alumna. So you can reach out to alumni as well if you know them personally and trust that they can write you a recommendation. The passport photo page can also be submitted later because not everybody has a passport. But again, if you have it, please submit it. These are the general steps for the selection process. First, candidates will submit their applications. The embassy staff will review these applications and select semi-finalists for interviews. After the interviews, finalists will be selected. Just because you're a finalist doesn't mean you're automatically in. You're just in the final. Then the finalists will take the language and standardized tests. So that's the TOEFL and the GRE. And they will also submit any additional documents that they may not have. After we've received the results from the language test and the standardized tests, we will send nominations to IIE which is our implementing partner. Then IIE will come back to us and let us know who are the principal candidates and who are the alternate candidates. Okay, so they will give us final confirmation of principal and alternate candidates. That happens after about a year from the moment that you apply. So you can apply today and find out next year in around February, March, if you have been selected as a finalist, as a principal or alternate candidate, okay? And then IIE will begin the placement process. And that means putting principal candidates in the universities that match with them. If you are wondering, what can I do to be selected? Well, one thing you can do is demonstrate a serious commitment to completing the program and to returning to Cameroon. This is not a tourism opportunity. It is an opportunity to exchange and to bring back to Cameroon. If you demonstrate a clear and detailed description of the study objectives, and you show clear connection between your study objectives and future goals, you're more likely to be selected. If you have experience in your intended field of study, you're more likely to be selected. And as Ms. Karen Tang mentioned, if you demonstrate leadership potential based on participation in academic activities, community engagement, professional development, if you demonstrate leadership, you are more likely to be selected. Again, dedication to Cameroon and a potential to make impact. We are looking not only for people who will go and study, but people who will do something with their studies. We're looking for people who are willing to be cultural ambassadors of Cameroon and to contribute to the mutual understanding between the people of the United States and of Cameroon. And lastly, but very importantly, people who have demonstrated academic excellence and strong English proficiency. Okay, we do look for people who are academically strong because the competition in the United States is tough, and we want you to be able to succeed while you are there. Okay, I see that there are many, many questions in the chat. I have come to the end of my section, and we're now going to move over to the alumni panel. And during this panel, we will be taking some of your questions that are currently in the chat. Okay. Today we are joined by Ms. Bicheri Nanga, Ms. Melissa Simo, and Mr. Joseph Daliwa. So for the biographies, Bicheri Nanga is a diplomat and foreign affairs officer at the Ministry of External Relations, Cameroon, posted at the Department of African Affairs. Her interests cut across conflict resolution, humanitarian action, people-centered relations, and community development-related activities. In 2011, she graduated from Lyrique with a master's degree in international relations, specializing in international conflict resolution, and dispute settlement. Her urge to accompany Cameroon in particular and Africa at large in their pursuit towards achieving sustainable peace was a motivation to further her education and carry out in-depth research in her field of interest. In 2019, alongside 2 other fellows from Cameroon, she was awarded the Fulbright Foreign Student Scholarship to study a master's degree in conflict resolution at the University of Massachusetts, Boston. During her studies, she volunteered as a research assistant at the McMormitt Graduate School of Global and Policy Studies and was an active member in the African Students Union. Since she's returned to Cameroon, she regained her seat in the Ministry of External Relations and has been actively involved in mentoring young professionals, especially fellowship and scholarship aspirants. Bichirine is an alumnus of the Young African Leaders Initiative Ghana, the Estonian School of Diplomacy, and the Program on Negotiation at Harvard Law in Boston, Massachusetts. So welcome, Bichirine. Next, we have Ms. Melissa Drissi. She is a development economist with a keen interest in evaluation and big data analysis. She attended St. Bede's College, Ashingham for secondary and high school, and the University of Boya for her undergraduate degree. Ms. Drissi is a 2019 Fulbright Foreign Student Grantee and an alumni of the Center for Development Economics at Williams College, located in Massachusetts. She graduated with a master's in policy economics and was admitted into Williams College Policy Economics program. She was the first female Cameroonian in 60 years of the program's existence. Ms. Drissi has significant experience in program management, research, early childhood development, and inclusive education. Upon her return, she co-founded an inclusive bilingual academic complex, which comprises of a nursery, primarily teaching, training, and higher institute of learning. She was exposed to education and inclusion during her Fulbright stay and could not shake the idea of founding this institute. And where she now works at Hyssen, it is the first and only private higher institute of learning authorized to train special educators in Cameroon. She's also been greatly involved in research and impact evaluation consultancy and is currently lead research consultant for UNOI's base study on implementation of YPS in Cameroon. So welcome, Melissa. And last but not least, we have Daliwa Joseph Baimandi. He is the awardee of the Fulbright Program 2020. He completed his PhD research at the University of Columbia, Missouri, in the Department of Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering as a PhD visiting student. Currently, he's waiting for his PhD defense in the physics department of the University of Gaoundéré. He is also an alumnus of the Mandela Washington Fellowship and was the first Cameroonian who completed an internship in 2017 at the United States Department of Agriculture and Rural Development in Columbia, Missouri. After his internship, he had the privilege of working as the Regional Advisory Board member of the Mandela Washington Fellowship, representing Cameroon and the Chad Republic. He is also the founder and chairman of Action for Youth and Environment, a youth-led organization that intervenes in environmental protection, tourism, sustainable energy, quality education, and gender equality. Currently, he is the project officer of the Mandela Washington Association of Cameroon. And in Cameroon, he has trained more than 30,000 jobless youth, students, unemployed women and girls in income-generating activities in various domains, including personal development, leadership, business, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Okay, so we have an impressive panel in front of us, and I apologize, I was reading rather fast because I'm excited for you to hear what they have to say. And we want to make sure that our panelists have enough time. So I will just be asking a couple of questions to the panelists, and then we will be taking your questions. So thank you, keep them coming in the chat. My first question will be to Mr. Daliwa. So if you can unmute your microphone. And my question to you is, how was your Fulbright experience and what impact has it had on your work in Cameroon? Joseph? Can you unmute yourself?
I was muted by the host.
Okay.
So, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Daliwa Defense. I hope everyone is listening very well what I'm saying. My Fulbright experience was really amazing. I was the first Cameroonian selected to complete a PhD research at the Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering of Columbia, Missouri. Doing research in Cameroon and going to US and working in the labs for the first time was quite like a dream. I was working with equipment of $500 million. And it was like, oh, that's Joseph working with those equipments. When I arrived, I was fortunate to be welcomed by the staff, and I got the keys of the labs of the university and access to to the library. When I was going at the library, and if a document or a books was missing, the library was like ordering the book from other states. And I was like, oh, wow, that's quite surprising, but it was really amazing, specifically from intellectual to cultural domain. But from the intellectual aspect, like Jessica said, the Fulbright foreign program is very competitive. I was among the best PhD student and student across the world. I was having a student from Taiwan and China. I was like the first Black in that department to do research. And we were going in the lab from Monday till Saturday. Even on Sunday sometime, I was sleeping on the lab because I had lots of work to do to catch up if I was busy during the weekend. And every month, each PhD student or student was having a PowerPoint presentation in front of our supervisor, originated from China. And he's like the best in the whole state in that domain. And you have a presentation and you should present new projects. You should make the data analysis, data collections, confirm your results from the literature, theory you compare theoretical results to the result of the literature. When you have good results, you go in the labs, do measurements. So it was tough, but really really amazing. And every month, like I said, you present that project and you discuss with the supervisor. When you have some challenges, you work with other colleagues. I was fortunate that one PhD student was almost working on a similar topic, not the same research, but we were using the same labs equipment. So it was easy for him to explain me, use this, do that, use this powerful computer to do your simulations, because it was not possible to make it in Cameroon. That's the concern, the intellectual aspect. Concerning the cultural aspect, when you go in US, in the university, they have many associations well organized. Before to arrive in US, the Association of Fulbright Students of the University received originally my data. They sent the information to all Cameroonians who were at the university. So when I arrived at the Missouri State, it was during the COVID pandemic, it was very difficult. But Cameroonians organized really a party for me to welcome me, and I ate food from Cameroon, Ero, Watafufu, all those amazing food. It was quite amazing. And I was involved in many activities within the Fulbright Association of the university. Every weekend we were having either a meeting at the restaurant, or we're having a hiking, going outside, or picnics, or traveling in some town of the state to visit museum or participate in some festivals or in the state. It was well organized, and like I said, every weekend I was involved in any activity, and I was already part of the Association of Africans graduate students of the university. And you know, when you are a Cameroonian and you play football, you know, when you are a good player, it's easy to make friends. So every weekend we are having a football game, and we are having even a Facebook page of the football players of the university. So when Joseph was missing, everyone was calling, "Oh, Joseph, are you coming? We need you. You know, you are a good player." It was quite amazing. And every month I was volunteering with many NGOs, because, you know, in US, there are many NGOs. And when, as a student, you receive emails that we have these activities which will be carried out in this town. If you are available, someone will give you a ride. So I was always giving my availability and working for food pantry, like how I was volunteering to package food for communities who were not having the possibility to get healthy food. Was also participating in some activities on how to like clean the yard of people with disabilities. So I was volunteering with all those NGOs. I was cleaning their yard and also planting flowers with others Fulbright students. Sometime I was also working with some NGOs who were packing stuff, equipment, clothes for the refugees. So from the beginning and the end of my program, I was always involved in activities. Concerning also some trips, like I was saying, chaque week-end et chaque mois, on avait des activités sur le terrain. On partait aider les communautés qui ne pouvaient pas avoir peut-être à manger, car c'était la période du Covid. C'était difficile pour certaines communautés. On aidait les réfugiés, car bien sûr, il y a des réfugiés aussi aux États-Unis. Et on participait à plusieurs programmes pour surtout leur redonner le moral. Et pendant ces différentes activités, en tant que Camerounais, j'ai été sélectionné pour d'autres programmes organisés par l'université à cause de mes compétences, à cause de mes activités de volontariat. Et c'est ça, le Fulbright, c'est juste wow, car ça ne peut pas se résumer en 5 minutes. C'est des années d'expérience et ça te marque à vie. Merci, Jessica.
Merci beaucoup, Joseph. Donc, comme vous avez bien suivi, nous avons des boursiers qui ont fait des études dans des filières diverses. Donc, Monsieur Dalioua, lui, il était plutôt dans l'ingénierie, les maths, les sciences. Nous allons maintenant passer à Madame Melissa Drissi. And so, Melissa, my question to you is the same as to Joseph. Can you tell us just in a few minutes, how was your Fulbright experience? What was particular about it? And how did it impact your work when you returned? Melissa, you may unmute yourself.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Melissa JC. I'm a grantee of the Fulbright Exchange Program 2019, and I am so honored to share my experience with you today. So I went to the US in 2019 to study a master's, to do a master's, an MA in policy economics at the CDE. As Jessica already told you all, and my experience was blissful. It was a pure honor. And there's no way I can fully explain Fulbright to you, because it's a whole experience on its own. But I'll just give you a little picture, because whatever I tell you is it's just definitely going to be better, you know, when you get there, when you leave the whole experience. So I'll just divide my experience into three parts. One, my induction, two, my academics, and three, the culture aspect. So Fulbright, when I left Cameroon, there was a whole issue. I was quite younger than I am right now. And so there was the whole issue of family and who is going to, you know, am I going to just be thrown into the deep and all those things. And from the first day, I was welcomed by amazing faculty. So I had the English program. So don't mind how good my English is right now. I needed to beef up the English again for about a month. So I was welcomed at the University of Nebraska. And the faculty was so prepared for us. So they understood that you're leaving family. They understood that you're coming to a new culture. They understood the dynamics that come with it. And it was just purely amazing. So you have people that there was no, I mean, all the stereotypes were just broken, and it was just so beautiful. The first month, Fulbright made sure to integrate you. All the little things. How do I get a SIM card? How do I get a bank account? How do I? They answer the questions for you. And so that was just very beautiful for me. And then the IIE that Jessica spoke about, the IIE assigns you an advisor. So you're kind of mentored within the Fulbright program. Whatever issues you run into, you have you have your IIE advisor to, you know, to go to. So induction was amazing. And for me, that was really, that was one thing that stood out for me in my experience, because I don't think other programs have this. They really make sure that you are welcome. They introduce US culture to you. You are not shocked. Cultural shock, I mean, it's a day or two, a week or two, and then you're done. And so that was it for my induction. It was really just amazing. And they helped me again away from homesickness and all those things, and I just integrated so beautifully. And what should I talk? Culturally, the Fulbright program, you know, as you may know, is very big on cultural exchange. We are very big on cultural exchange. We want you to carry Cameroon to the US and then bring Cameroon home, bring the US home. You know, it's a whole cultural experience. And for me, it was very exciting to try things like skiing. You know, we don't have snow here, so yes, we had to try skiing. We tried. I left Cameroon. I never swam when I was in Cameroon, but I came back a swimmer. Yes. And then one thing that Fulbright does is it allows you to shine. So I was in a place where I had to shine. I had to be the Cameroonian voice, and I am given that space to show my culture and to show what I am. And you'll be shocked that the most little or the most trivial of things is applauded by other people. What you consider normal is amazing. So that whole cultural aspect, having to meet not only Americans, but people from different cultures, was just amazing, because I had the opportunity to always shine. I had the opportunity to lead a dance group, something I would have never done before if I was in Cameroon. So yes, you have the opportunity to shine and do all those things. And then academically, one thing I would like to highlight is away from the beautiful culture. So I started with the exciting things to bring us now into the serious stuff. So Fulbright is an academic exchange program. And so I left Cameroon as one of the best students within my department in Boya to a place where I have the best students from countries. So there's a lot of academic competition in the US. And so you want to be, I mean, I was thrown off. Honestly, since we are being very honest here, I was thrown off the first month. I was like, I thought I was here to just, you know, go through notes and come back. But there's a lot of, I realized for my first grades that, Melissa, there was a lot of work to be done, and I had to bury my head in my books. So the program is not a joke. It's actually academically tasking. You have to prepare yourself psychologically and every other way to know that you're going in for work. You're going in to do some serious work. So that is it about my experience. I mean, certainly it was great. Culture was great. Academics were great. I really loved my experience. I love America. I love the connections I made, the diversity and all. Now, coming back to Cameroon, I'll just say two things that I carried back that were just amazing. one thing is different. So when you come back from the Fulbright program, you would know that you're different in the room. One thing that Fulbright does to you is, away from what you learn, it's who you become. You become a better version of yourself. You become an upgrade. And so you are different from almost everything. You see things differently. Your perspective is different. And that really, when I came back, it made me to challenge a lot of things that I would normally not challenge, because I was able to see a difference and perceive things differently. And I was able to speak up, because I mean, the culture in the US is to speak up. The First Amendment is speak up. So I was able to speak up. And the second thing was the freedom to do what I wanted to do. In my bio, you realize that I said we worked a lot on creating an inclusive higher institute here in Cameroon. We did not have that. So how do our teachers train people with disabilities? So that was way out of what I would normally have done, but I did it anyway. So you have the freedom to do and be what you want to do, and to do and be. And so I was able to leverage on that. And now we have a whole institute here, and a whole I have whole research to coordinate, and the way in which things are done are just so different. So that is Fulbright for me in a bit. Fulbright changed my life totally, changed the way I see things, changed the way I perceive things. And yes, I am excited to share more through the questions when they are asked. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Melissa. I know that I'm looking in the chat and people are dropping their comments, asking for your contact. I think it's very, very exciting to see what happens to a person after going on such an exchange. And for 2 years, nonetheless, I do believe this is one of our, if not the longest exchange program that we offer at the embassy. And now, last but most certainly not least, we have Ms. Bisherine Nanga. I will be asking you the same question because there are particularities of your experience during the Fulbright program. Can you tell us, how was that for you, those 2 years in the United States? So Bisherine, you may unmute your mic. Hello, Bisherine, we cannot hear you. Your microphone was open, but now it's closed again. Can you open your mic?
Hi, Jessica. Can you hear me?
Very softly, but we can hear you. If you can use your loudest voice possible.
Okay, can you hear me? There's actually so much rain where I am, so I'll have to shout. So thank you so much for this honor. I feel so happy to join in and share my experience. My co-panelists, Joseph and Melissa, said it all. So I guess I'll just take a few seconds to add in the specifics of mine, because we have the same story, we share the same experience, or it's the same thing. So I arrived the US on July 7th, 2019. And the first day of my pre-academic program was on July 8th. That was at Drexel University in Pennsylvania. So on Monday, July 8th, first of all, July 8th was my birthday. So I don't know how they got to know this. I guess they had my data. When I got in class in the morning, an announcement was made that someone from Cameroon was celebrating their birthday today. And that was me. I thought it was someone else. And to my greatest dismay, there was a birthday party planned up for me. And so we celebrated with other Fulbrighters. So my 6 weeks at Drexel University were very, very with a high quality intensive English training, pre-academic programs to prepare you for the American classroom, and dinner sessions organized with some hosts that you get to meet for the first time, and you were able to share your experience and exchange with them. My next stop was in Massachusetts. So I was the only Cameroonian student at my department, and it was very interesting, very exciting to share my experience back home. For those who had met Cameroonians before, they came to me asking about the ongoing crisis, football and food and cuisine. So I was excited to share all this experience. Also, I was very instrumental at my department and very active at the African Student Union. Some highlights of my time in Boston were my volunteer as a mediator in Boston court, and I also volunteered with communities in packaging food, as Joseph mentioned. So we did some food packaging to send to communities that suffer hunger. So I was also lucky because this is a very important part of the Fulbright experience. It is the community engagement period when we are spread across the 50 states to go to communities and volunteer with them. So I was fortunate because I was part of the first group of students selected to partake in their volunteer program just before COVID hit. And because after COVID hit, we didn't have time to meet each other physically. So I went to Nashville, Tennessee, where I volunteered with Fight Against Hunger and had the opportunity to meet several other Fulbrighters. So when COVID hit, everything went online, but we were still able to connect through weekly webinars. And yeah, so I'm just adding my voice to Melissa's and Joseph's. So I think they said it all. It's a wonderful experience. You want to try it. You want to be on board. So I'm just here to encourage you. And the little cake on this experience, again, because Fulbright is fun, is that which is still part of my experience, is that I got to meet my husband during my Fulbright experience, and I got a baby, so it's still part of my program. But I finished, I came back home, and I'm happy to share this experience with you. So thank you, Jessica.
Thank you, Shireen. Thank you for sharing. And you know, there are these common threads in terms of the excitement, in terms of the community engagement that Fulbrighters have, but every experience is unique. And we are excited to see who will be able to partake in this experience for 2023-24. Now we have a lot of questions in the chat. Some of them are more administrative and some of them are for our panelists. So I will answer a few and then ask our panelists to answer some questions. Earlier, we spoke about the TOEFL. The TOEFL is mandatory, and it is going to be offered to candidates who are semi-finalists. So after you've been invited, actually finalists, but after you've been invited to interview, we will select finalists to take the TOEFL. Okay, so you do not have to worry about that. No, you cannot take the IELTS. It's the TOEFL is the one that we offer most frequently. The IELTS is a different process that it is possible, but we prefer to have our candidates take the TOEFL because that is the most commonly accepted language test in the United States. So you run the risk of not being accepted by a university if you choose to take a different test. Yes, you must take the GRE and the GMAT or the GMAT to participate in the Fulbright program. So someone asked that question. No, you cannot use any other, like the GCE ordinary level, or say that you're Anglophone, or no, you must take the language test. Okay, so hopefully that is clear. As far as choosing a university, applicants do not choose a university, but they can indicate their preference. And by indicating their preference, IIE is more likely to reach out to that university. And if it's a good match, then wonderful. But it's not a process where candidates can just pick which university they want. Okay. And I'm going to answer two more questions and then turn it over to the panelists before continuing. Many people in the health fields have been asking about public health. Yes, you can apply for the Fulbright as for the public health program because that does not involve patient contact. So if you're a dentist and you want to go into public health, you can do that. If you're a medical doctor and you want to go into public health, you can do that as well. Okay. And we have several questions just tied to language. Can I submit my application in French? No, because the assessment committee in Washington, D.C. does not speak French. So you must submit your application in English, and transcripts will need to be translated into English as well, but we will help you with that process. So that's why we say they can be submitted later. If you've submitted French versions, that's okay. That's okay. When we get to the semifinalist and finalist stage, we will reach out to those individuals and ask for translated transcripts. But I'm going to turn it over to someone who might be able to sort of assuage your fears. Parce que je sais qu'il y a beaucoup de francophones sur ce call qui se posent la question, est-ce que je pourrais participer à ce programme, sachant que voilà, mon niveau d'anglais n'est pas encore tout à fait là. Donc, je veux vous encourager avec l'histoire de Monsieur Joseph Daliwad. Je vais lui passer la parole parce qu'il avait également ces questions quand il a commencé à réfléchir au programme Fulbright, mais il s'est battu et il est arrivé jusqu'au bout. C'est un francophone qui sait enseigner l'anglais, mais je vais vous le laisser partager un peu son histoire. Joseph, can you speak a little on that? Being a francophone, applying to the Fulbright, how did you overcome the language barrier?
Ok, merci Mélissa pour cette question. En fait, et c'est la question que tous les francophones m'ont toujours posée et lorsqu'on se rencontre dans des programmes américains. Et comment, Joseph, tu as fait? Et, en fait, j'aimerais rappeler que je suis de l'extrême nord. J'ai fait mes études secondaires dans la Damawa, à Tibati plus précisément. Je n'ai jamais fait une section anglophone. Donc, toutes mes études ont été en français jusqu'à avoir mon bac C. ma licence en physique et mon master en physique à l'université de Gambia. Au fait, je veux surprendre beaucoup. J'ai appris mon anglais avec mon laptop et à travers YouTube. Et j'ai réussi le essay writing du TOEFL à 25 sur 30. Donc, je vous donne un peu la note 25 sur 30. C'est-à-dire, même certains anglophones n'avaient pas eu cette note. Pour vous dire que, au fait, c'est possible. On a cette barrière, nous les francophones, mais il est possible de se préparer. Parce que le TOEFL, c'est un examen. Un examen qui se prépare sur au moins une année. C'est lui qui veut postuler au Fulbright, s'il dit qu'il veut postuler au Fulbright de l'année prochaine, qui se met à préparer son TOEFL dès maintenant. Dès que j'ai commencé à préparer le TOEFL, je rappelle que j'ai composé d'abord le TOEFL seul avec mes propres frais pour connaître mon niveau. Et lorsque j'ai eu mes premiers résultats qui n'étaient pas bons, je suis resté dans mon coin, travailler sur mes lacunes, sur mon speech, et je vous assure que en rédaction actuellement en anglais, je bats beaucoup des personnes qui ont fait tout leur cursus en anglais. Donc, c'est pas impossible, c'est très possible car c'est nous qui sommes juste le problème, notre mindset. Et si on se met juste à bosser dur en suivant les règles de l'art, de comment préparer un TOEFL, je vous assure que vous allez cartonner. C'est pas la magie, c'est simple.
Merci, merci beaucoup, Joseph. Donc, avec un peu de persistance, détermination, vous pouvez y arriver. Donc, voilà un candidat qui a fait les efforts et qui est arrivé jusqu'au bout. Donc, je vous encourage très fortement de vous mettre au travail si vous êtes vraiment sérieux et vous êtes vraiment intéressé par ce programme. We have some questions about the writing, and I'm going to pass this question on to Bichirine. We're having some questions about the difference between the personal statement and the project of study, right? The proposal for study, and what tips might you have for having a strong personal statement or proposal of study? Bichirine? Bichirine, we can't hear you. I don't know if it's a connection issue. Can you speak into the mic, please?
Maybe I can jump in while she's trying to connect.
Je pense qu'on
I
a
will
des
try
problèmes.
to explain. That's, I think, one of the advice I will give to all candidates about personal statement as statement of purpose of project. You know, it's like the cure, or how can I say, don't mix those two documents, because you might fail your application if you don't know the difference between the personal statement and the statement of purpose. What is the statement of purpose? The statement of purpose should answer the following questions. What goals of the degree you seek are, and how the Fulbright could help you achieve these goals? If you answer to that questions, you are writing a statement of purpose, a project. So what are the goals of your master's degree? If it's in public health, if it's in applied science, if it's in geography, what are the goals? And how the Fulbright will help you reach those goals? Now, the personal statements answer the following questions. Who are you? Why you are choosing this project or the statement or the program that you are applying for? And what do you want to do? It's where you tell about your personal stories, your motivations, your skills, what you bring in to the Fulbright programs. So don't confuse those two documents. If you answer to those questions, you are going to have a good statement of purpose or project and a good personal statement. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Joseph. And there is a third component for certain programs. I see questions about it, the writing sample. The writing sample is required for certain fields, not all, but especially fields like language, communications, fields where writing is a major part of your academic study. So you will need to just double check. If you're in a field like science and engineering, then the writing sample would not be necessary, but it's always a good thing if you have a strong sample. And what a writing sample is a document of writing about the topic that you study in that style. So for example, if I'm studying American literature, I might write a review of a book, a book by an American author, right? If I'm studying education and I need a writing sample, then I might write a pedagogical notice, a curriculum, right? So using the industry that you're in, write in English. That's what a writing sample is all about. Some questions I'm seeing on page limits and things like that, there are no page limits. You use your best judgment, right? Personal statement can be 1 page, it can be 2 pages, it can be 4. Same thing with the study proposal, depending on how in-depth you're going. But just as a marker, you don't want to be writing more than 20 pages in terms of a study proposal. That will be much too long. I'm going to now pass on the mic to Melissa. Melissa, there are questions about general tips that helped you during the application. And what do you think caused you to be selected for the Fulbright Scholarship? So can you give us some tips and tell us what you did that you think caused you to be selected?
Okay, hello everybody. Again, so the first part is, so what did I do and what made me stand out? So one thing was my mind. I worked on my mind. You have to want the Fulbright scholarship. Want it so bad that you want to do everything in your power to get there. So that's the first thing, your zeal. Your zeal really counts because this program is long. You need to want it to go through the process. You see the sacrifice that Joseph went through, paying to do TOEFL. You need to want it. If you want it good, well enough, you have it. Number 2 is I did everything within my power to get mentors to direct my focus, because I didn't have a clear picture of what I wanted to do. So I needed to get to mentors to help shape my perspective. And I did my due diligence to know, at least have something that they can work with. So one thing I would advise that you do is do everything in your power. People are also busy, but then get in their space and ask them, go for it. Ask them, what did you do? Their alumni, reach out to them and ask them, what did you do? Ask the questions you need to ask to get the to get the scholarship. Another thing that I think worked for me is when I had the opportunity when I was selected, I got my my TOEFL and my GRE paid for. I was working at the time, but then I had to study for those exams because I needed to be among the best to get my scholarship approved. So when you're pre-selected, don't relax. Go in and study for TOEFL and study for GRE. Make sure your grades are really, really good. That too will help. And I think a fourth tip that helped, why was I don't know, a fourth tip that helped prior to when I even went in for the scholarship is that I kept I kept reading a lot. So before I even went in to postulate for while I was going in, I read a lot. I really wanted to be informed on what I wanted, because I mean, I think in Cameroon, our curriculum is too direct. For example, you go to university, you just study medicine and that's it. But then I wanted to understand what other people in the field of my field, economics, are studying. So I had to read articles, read books, get engaged, network with people. The embassy has a lot of events. Go for them. You would get information, and information will get to you and all. So go for information, and you realize that, I mean, even the way you write will start to change, and then you realize that you are, standing out among the crowd. So I think those are some things that I did that really helped my process, my Fulbright process to go to completion. Yes.
Thank you, Melissa. That's really great advice. That determination is needed. Il y a quelques questions dans le chat. Est-ce que les participants de cette réunion sur Zoom sont déjà présélectionnés? Non. Non. Ça, c'est juste une session d'information. Et quelqu'un avait demandé qu'on répète la différence entre le personal statement et le purpose of study en français. Donc, ce que Joseph expliquait, c'est que le personal statement est plutôt un essai où vous expliquez qui vous êtes, pourquoi vous souhaitez postuler pour le Fulbright et en quoi est-ce que ce programme va vous aider dans vos objectifs. Donc, c'est très personnel. Okay? Ça doit démontrer vos forces. Mais le purpose of study, c'est plutôt un document qui va énumérer ce que vous souhaitez étudier et ce que vous souhaitez faire avec ces études. Comment est-ce que ces études vont impacter votre travail éventuel au Cameroun quand vous rentrez? Donc, voilà la différence. Un essai est plutôt personnel qui parle de vous et de votre intérêt pour le programme en général, mais l'autre est plus spécifique et va parler de, pas seulement, vous ne pouvez pas seulement dire, OK, je vais étudier les maths. Quoi spécifiquement dans les maths et en quoi est-ce que ça va vous aider pour vos travaux quand vous rentrez aux États-Unis. OK? I'm going to pass the mic back to Bisherine. And the question remains a bit open. If you can please give us your suggestions for the application process. We're not currently hearing you, Bisherine.
So can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. So hello again. The advice I'll have, or the tip I could share with us today is the Fulbright process is very long, and it could be agonizing and heartbreaking, but I can see Melissa smiling. She knows what I'm talking about. But hang in there, you can do it. So be the best, stand out from the rest and give your best. The Fulbright program is highly competitive and merit-based. Selection depends on a multitude of factors. That's your application, your interview, the TOEFL, the GRE, the GMAT for others, school interviews from faculty at your host university. So you are in competition at every stage. Strive for excellence because the Fulbright program, it's an excellent, has an excellent reputation and a reputation for excellence. So if you have a strong leadership potential, prove it. Send in the strong fight to support your candidacy because you are in competition with people you don't even know. If you believe in plagiarism, please do not apply. This is not for you. And the second advice I'm going to give is perseverance. Don't quit trying. Sometimes rejection is inevitable, but I believe perseverance can pay the dividends. So since this competition is very fierce, there is no guarantee for selection. I got knocked out twice. I only got selected on my third try. On my first, I didn't make it at all. On my second, I was a semi-finalist, meaning I got to the interview stage, but I wasn't selected. I only got selected on my third try. I didn't quit trying. So this is just an advice for us all. Don't lose heart. Rejection doesn't mean your work is flawed. It just means you need to fix one or two things. For instance, my rejections followed a specific, I think my rejections, they didn't follow a specific pattern. So I knew exactly what to fix in my next attempt. So do not be psychologically defeated because I believe the decision not to try is your biggest barrier to your success. So believe, hang in there, be excellent, and be your best. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Bicherine. I know we have so many questions and people are very, very excited about this program. I encourage everyone to go on the embassy website. I encourage you to read the instructions very carefully on the online application. Il y a des gens dans ce chat qui me demandent comment postuler. Ah ben, c'est la première des choses. Vous devrez savoir comment postuler. Rendez-vous en ligne, cliquez sur les liens. La candidature, le formulaire de candidature se trouve en ligne. Donc, c'est comme ça que vous pouvez postuler. Rendez-vous sur le site web de l'ambassade des États-Unis. Je vais partager mon adresse email pour ceux qui ont des questions qui n'ont pas été répondues lors de cette session. exchangesyaoundé@state.gov. You can send in your questions to that email address, but please, we cannot be fielding 50 versions of the same question. Check online first. And if you do not find the question, then please let us know. To the question about TOEFL tests, I'm going to say it again. You do not need to have your TOEFL test right now. You will need it later, so you can apply without the TOEFL test. Vous n'avez pas besoin de soumettre les résultats du test TOEFL pour postuler. Okay? Ça serait une deuxième étape pour les candidats présélectionnés. D'accord. Avant qu'on ne clôture, j'aimerais passer la parole, s'il est toujours avec nous, à Monsieur Mathias Tchenche, qui pourra peut-être nous donner un petit conseil du point de vue de l'ambassade, enfin, de nous qui recevons vos candidatures. Mathias, si vous avez un petit mot avant qu'on ne se sépare.
Merci Jessica, bon après-midi à tout le monde. Après avoir écouté la présentation ainsi que les témoignages des différents participants, des panélistes qui sont des anciens boursiers, qui donc ont parcouru tout le processus. Il y a très peu de choses à ajouter en réalité. Tout ce qu'on pourrait dire, c'est d'encourager tous ceux qui sont intéressés de faire des efforts pour rendre leur dossier de candidature aussi compétitif que possible. Il faut se rendre compte que tous les ans, nous avons à peine 2 ou 3 Camerounais qui sont sélectionnés pour le programme Fulbright Foreign Student. Donc, de façon naturelle, le niveau de compétition est très élevé. Et comme le disait Bichérine, il faut croire en soi-même, mais aussi se donner toutes les chances de réussir. Donc, travailler sa candidature, rassembler les éléments qu'il faut, procéder à une introspection, identifier ses faiblesses et les corriger au fur et à mesure afin éventuellement d'avoir une candidature qui pourra véritablement attirer l'attention des examinateurs. Donc, voilà ce que je dirais et je souhaite à tous ceux qui considéreront la possibilité de postuler une très, très bonne chance. So good luck to everyone and thanks for attending the session.
Thank you. Thank you, Matthias. Thank you to our panelists. Bichérine, thank you to Joseph, thank you to Melissa, Charlene, to Karen as well. Thank you for all of your questions. We are now going to say goodbye. For those who would like to take a little family photo, you can turn on your camera and you now have the ability to unmute yourself finally. And we'll take a little picture before we say goodbye. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
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 Bye, madam.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you so much.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Bye.
Take some tizo.
Goodbye. Goodbye. Thank you very much. Goodbye from Yaoundé. I learned a lot. Thank you. Thank you. Goodbye. Wonderful session.
I say you say you love some over here.
Is anyone who is still available? What is it about this Sabachi?
Yeah, una two, una go there.
Bye-bye.